Hello, this is Dr. Paul Cottrell, and I'm recording this on August 25th. As you know, about 2 months ago, I said that there were two key dates that I was concerned about Kabbalistically. One was August 24th, 2024, and another one is September 24th, 2024. All right. The reason why I was concerned about August 24th, 2024 is that is the date where it's 322 days from October 7th, 2023. And I said that Kabbalistically, this is going to be important because of Genesis chapter 3, verse 22. All right. So there's going to be an upheaval, an additional escalation, and a movement towards a larger war. And that catalyst, all right, was going to be the 322nd day from October 7th. Why is this? It's because it's Kabbalistic. The whole idea here is that it's the soul roots between Jacob and Esau. Jacob's soul root waxes and wanes. It gets stronger in the first cycle of the year, roughly. And then Esau's cycle strength is at the end of the year. Okay, this is the reason why a lot of bad things happen in October, because the strength of Esau, the Esau soul root. It's all about soul roots in this Kabbalistic activity of the soul root. Now, there are soul roots within individuals, and there are soul roots for a country. Okay, countries have soul roots. Not everybody's. Most countries don't have a pure aspect of the soul root, meaning that they may have elements of Esau or Jacob, or even Ishmael for that matter. But we're more focused on the Jacob and Esau soul roots. All right. So in near the tail end of January, so you got February, March, April, May, June, July. Those are the months that are strong for Jacob. April is a very strong month for Jacob because it is the middle of the cycle, and that's where the soul root strength is the highest for Jacob, and the soul root for Esau is the lowest. Now you get into August, September, October, November, December, January. That's where the soul root of Esau is strong, where the strength is in October. All right. This is the reason why I said Israel needed to strike the northern front and finish the military targets in Gaza and eliminate Hamas in April. The United States tried to prevent Israel from doing that. And that has caused a problem when you're looking at this metaphysically with the soul roots. All right. So they kicked the can down the road, and now we're in the strengthening phase of Esau. Now, it's important to understand that as these events start to coalesce and there's a larger war that's going on in the Middle East, the soul root of Jacob and the soul root of Ishmael are going to work together. And that there is going to be a test within the Esau group. Some of the Esau group, some of the soul roots from Esau will actually repent and change their ways and align themselves with Jacob and Ishmael. Others will not, and that's where the full end of days kind of thing happens in terms of soul roots. So we're going to see an alignment of Ishmael, Jacob, and repented Esau. All right. And I know it gets a little complicated to understand who is who and what, you know. Now, Ishmael, all right, is more aligned with Saudi Arabia, but not all of Saudi Arabia in terms of its people have a pure Ishmael soul root. Some of it is actually Esau. Some of it is Jacob. But the thing is that, you know, to make it a little bit more simple to understand, it's really a battle between Israel, Saudi Arabia and its allies, and Iran and its allies. All right. And that in the Western world, we have this, mostly the soul root is heavy Jacob, but elements of Esau. And that's why in the United States, you're starting to see, from a Kabbalistic point of view, this fracturing of society, because some of these protests and some of the rhetoric with the war in the Middle East is coming from the soul root of Esau. So the United States and other Western countries are being tested, and to see if some of those people within Esau will actually move towards the soul root of Jacob. The United States is heavier on the soul root, is more attached to the soul root of Jacob than Esau. All right, that's for sure. But there's a decent percentage that is tied to Esau, and so it can swing the way. It causes this perturbance within society within the United States. All right, so this is the reason why I said August 24th was really, really important. It's the 322nd day from October 7th, which was a pinnacle point for the strengthening of Esau. It's the strengthening of Esau now in 2024, August. All right. So we have this build out now. All right. We kicked the can down the road because Israel didn't do what they needed to do in April. If Israel went really full out in April, things would be a lot different. But it didn't. They didn't do that because of the United States. The Biden administration tried to prevent them from doing it. So, okay, now we're in a new cycle, and this new cycle is going to, at least metaphysically, is going to benefit Esau. That means it's going to benefit Hamas, Hezbollah, and Iran. So there's going to be a larger conflict here, and this is the reason why we have to put even more forces in. So I'm trying to explain Kabbalistically what is happening, what you're seeing with the military build out of the U.S. Navy in the region. Now, like I said, what's going on in Europe is also going to translate into Asia, and what's going on in the Middle East is going to translate into Asia. The Chinese want to control those first island chains. They want to control Taiwan. And the United States has thinned its forces out and hasn't built up its military to be able to counteract that force with, a higher level of number of ships. Our ship imbalance between the Chinese and the United States is pretty bad. All right, so we're undershipped. But we have strategically put bases in place in the northern Philippines, aligned ourselves with the Japanese and the South Koreans, and also other allies in the region, such as the Australians and the New Zealanders that have some sort of force projection there. But minus a new type of development of technology for the Navy and the Air Force, it's going to be problematic for the United States to really push back the Chinese invasion of Taiwan. It's not going to be easy. It's possible, but it's not going to be easy. And we are going to lose that navigational way of the 9-dash line. So it's really important that we maintain that, all right, in the air and in the sea. Freedom of navigation is really important in the air and the sea through the 9-dash line in that region. So that's the South China Sea. That's international waters, and everybody should be able to freely flow in there. The Chinese don't want that. All right, they think that region is theirs. So this can boil over to a much larger war, which I think is going to happen. All right. Then you tie into unconventional warfare means, biologics, chemical, radiological, whatever. All right. The United States does seem to be developing technologies where they're like torpedo type surface missiles that can come in and hit ships. So maybe you don't need as many aircraft carriers and strike groups in the region with this new type of technology that is being developed. In addition, there are drone technologies that are either naval drones or Air Force drones that may change the balance of the number of ships that you need. That's still left to be really proven out on the battlefield, but stuff like this is being developed. So August 24th, like I said 2 months ago, was going to be a pivotal date. And that's exactly what happened. It happened last night. I was a little surprised that it didn't happen. I was waiting and waiting and waiting. And then in the United States, it happens maybe an hour or so before midnight. And boom, the news announcements are showing that Israel did a strike on Hezbollah. So it did happen, and I explained why it's happening metaphysically and how that can manifest itself into a larger conflict. All right, it's looking like it's stabilized right now, but it's important to realize that that is a fleeting thing. It's the stability in the region is not going to be maintained, and that this is going to escalate. The other date that I said that was going to be really important is September 24th, 2024. I didn't understand why. I just saw it in my mind. I saw blue. I saw New York. I felt that it was some sort of radiological thing going on. I find out that there's going to be a UN assembly. I believe it's from the September 10th to the 24th, the 23rd. And then there's going to be a high level, what they call a high level general debate on September 24th. So I just found that out like 2 days ago. So what we probably will see is that there's conflict in the region, in the Middle East. There's conflict with Russia and Ukraine, especially with Ukraine getting into Kursk and the nuclear issue there because of the plants. This is going to set in motion what is happening on September 24th, additional rhetoric and heat, and a lack of coming to the minds of these regions, where Esau's soul root will get stronger as we move into January. So September, then it's September 24th. There's going to be heated rhetoric. It's going to be a catalyst. And then all of a sudden, October is very strong for Esau. And what's going to happen is that they're going to use that soul root energy and attack. Now, are they going to attack Israel only? Are they going to attack the United States? Is there going to be full conflict in the world? I don't know, but I know that September 24th is a really important date in terms of an inflection point, and it's going to get worse, not better. Just like August 24th, yesterday was an inflection point where it's going to lead into, it's these series of events that are leading us into further conflict, or what we may call in modern parlance, World War III. So I said this months ago that this was going to happen, and it's falling in line. And all it is just taking a little bit of an idea of stepping back and saying, you know what, there's something different about this conflict in the Middle East than prior years, and that the talking heads and the policy gurus and the international affairs experts, they're getting it wrong, and they're not paying attention to the idea of this soul root cycle that Kabbalists have been talking about for centuries, for not just centuries, thousands of years. All right, so I seem to be more right than John Mearsheimer on this. So just pay attention to what I'm saying, because it's playing out. Please help support my work by making sure that you subscribe to all my channels. I have 4 channels on YouTube. I have Brighteon, Bitchute, and Rumble. Dr. Paul Cottrell, why do you have so many channels? Because I'm censored. I'm shadow banned. I don't have the reach because of the things that I say about the crisis that happened in 2020. And oh, by the way, we're having other crises that are starting to emerge, like RSV and Mpox and other variants of the 2020 crisis, influenza. Are we going to start seeing, a major issue with that? It's probably not going to be H5N1. It's probably going to be something different. So, the thing is that you need to start paying attention to me. I have done a PowerPoint of a detail of the science of Mpox. All right. Because of this event, I'm going to do this video first, and then I'll take the time and explain the science of Mpox in a different video. But please help support my work by making sure you subscribe to all my channels. Make sure you follow me on X, GETTR, and YouTube and Facebook. That way you can follow my work and you know that I am publishing something. I'll say something like I'm playing video now or whatever. That way I get around the censorship of the notification. Because what some people are seeing is that they won't get a notification until hours after the premiere has happened, or they don't get the notification at all, or maybe even a day later. So, the reality of the situation is that it's important to follow my work and ask your social media to follow me. Because guess what? I am really accurate, all right, on many, many things. And it's really important that you pay attention to me, because I'll help you navigate through this. I'm going to help you understand what is going on. I'm going to help you understand how to improve your health and how this may affect the financial markets, because they're all connected. All right. I am one of a very few amount of people out there that are doing these podcasts that are as accurate. All right. So it's really important that you follow what I have to say, because I'm not wrong. I am not wrong on this. All right. So with that, please help support my work by donating. You can donate on my website, the-studio-reykjavik.com. You can donate through Stripe, PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee. You can also be a paid member on my Patreon channel. If you are a higher tiered member on Patreon, you do get access to some of my medical lectures on pulmonology and immunology. So there's a benefit of being a higher tiered member on Patreon. Your donations help to make sure that my videos that I do, which are thousands, I have thousands of videos out there that are for free. All right. So please help to support the community by donating. It's really important. And please help support my work by improving your health and listening to my protocols and going to my store and getting the supplements that I take to slow down the aging process, to increase longevity and vitality, and to boost up my immune system. It's what I do. And so I'm just showing you how to improve your body, instead of, listen to Dr. Paul Cottrell instead of listening to Alex Jones. Alex Jones is younger than Dr. Paul Cottrell. Alex Jones looks 15 years older than Dr. Paul Cottrell. Alex Jones doesn't use the products he sells. It's obvious. He doesn't follow any discipline in terms of health. It's obvious. Dr. Paul Cottrell does. Who do you want to listen to? Who's actually more accurate? I was much more accurate on the crisis in 2020 than Alex Jones. I'm much more accurate on what's going on in Israel than Alex Jones is. I'm much more accurate on what's going on with Taiwan and the emergent behavior that's taking place on the first island chains than Alex Jones. Now, that doesn't mean that Alex Jones is wrong on everything, but the point is that he is less relevant now. His relevance was really important during the 9/11 crisis, but he's not that relevant now. The accuracy is lower, and he's just regurgitating people. He's regurgitating. Why is he putting on someone that actually worked for, quote, the Biodefense Department, all right, on his channel to tell you on how to understand what's going on with the aftershock of 2020? No one is as accurate on the crisis of 2020 than I am. No one. There's no one. There are people that are accurate in some realm, but the totality, the amount of the amount of projection of being able to say this is what's going to happen, what did happen, how it's affecting your immune system, you know, all this stuff. No one's as accurate other than me. No one. There's nobody. There's nobody. I challenge anybody. There's nobody out there that knows the subject matter better than I do. There's nobody. Now, that may sound kind of hubris and whatever, but the reality of the situation is this is the reason why you need to subscribe and listen to me, because something bigger is fucking happening. And people are too stupid and too siloed to understand this. There's something much, much bigger that's emerging in this world than what we had in 2020. So with that said, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the supplements that I have. Before I start playing a bunch of videos, I have to plug products. Why? Because this is the only way that you're going to be able to boost up your immune system. All right? You got to take charge of your life, because by boosting up your immune system, you're going to be more prepared for what's coming. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the toothpaste. Why? Because this is the best toothpaste that you can get. It's way better than anything that Procter & Gamble does. It's way better than anything that Alex Jones sells. This is the best toothpaste that you can get. Get a few tubes of this for your household. It's very important. It has structural nanosilver in it. It does not have fluoride. Fluoride makes you stupid. Fluoride makes you stupid. Say it with me. Fluoride makes you stupid. So make sure you don't have fluoride in your diet, in your water, or in your toothpaste. So please go to my store and get the toothpaste that has structural nanosilver. It'll neutralize pathogens, whiten your teeth, freshen your breath, reduce the inflammation of your gum line. Guess what? If you have less inflammation of your gum line doesn't recede, and so you don't look older, and you don't have oral hygiene issues. In addition, by having good oral hygiene, you're going to reduce cardiovascular disease and valvular disease. I'm pretty sure that Alex Jones doesn't understand that. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get a few tubes of this toothpaste. Extremely important. You should be using this every day. You should be brushing your teeth every day, all right? And stop using fluoride. Fluoride is going to make you stupid. Max 35 helps to neutralize pathogens. You take a teaspoon of this a day, you swish it in your mouth for about 20 seconds, gargle and swallow. What it does is it'll neutralize pathogens, maintain good oral hygiene, and maintain the mucosal barrier. You need that mucosal barrier. Why? So you don't get infections. I have it also in Max 14 and also in structural nanosilver solution, which is a 30 ppm. I also have structural nanosilver gels. I have two types. I have one in a tube form, and I also have one in a dispenser form. These are great products. They're dual purpose. You put it on your hands and on your skin, and it'll help to neutralize pathogens because of the structural nanosilver in it. And because it's a gel, it will create a barrier on your skin. So you're creating a barrier and you're neutralizing pathogens. Way better than Perel. Perel evaporates. Why? Because it's alcohol-based, and Perel cracks your skin. This heals your skin. So not only is it neutralizing pathogens and creating a barrier because it's a gel, but it's helping to heal your skin. So you can apply it on your skin as a skincare, put it on your skin every day. A great way to do it is put it on your skin before you go to bed and exfoliate in the morning. You'll notice that your skin is clearer and tighter, especially on your face. So additionally, with the structural nanosilver gel, you can put it around your mouth, around your nose, lightly coat your nostrils, around your eyes, around your ears. You can't do that with Perel because Perel is toxic. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the structural nanosilver gel. And you can get the dispenser to easily carry in your bag. But get these couple of these products. You're going to need this because if there's an outbreak, if there's a problem with the Mpox crisis outbreak, then guess what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to create barriers on your skin. And you're going to need to neutralize pathogens. So better get a couple of these gels and just be prepared. There's about a 20% chance that a developed nation is going to have an Mpox outbreak. 20% chance. we're going into the cold season. In the cold season, there's going to be problems with additional variants from the 2020 crisis. We're going to have problems with RSV. We're going to have problems with influenza, maybe even mpox. So you're going to need to boost up your immune system. The moment you feel an irritation during the cold season in the United States, what you need to do is take some drops and lozenges and neutralize that. The structural nanosilver in the drops and lozenges will neutralize the pathogen and create these secretions to maintain that mucosal barrier. If you have a poor mucosal barrier, then your chances of getting infection are increased. So it's really important to make sure that you maintain that mucosal barrier and neutralize those pathogens. So I have it in honey and lemon drops in 100 count. I have it in blueberry in 100 count. And also cherry, which is a new product, in 100 count. So get a couple bags or a few bags of this for your household for the cold season. It's coming. Cold season September. It's August right now, 25th. I also have lozenges, which are a little bit bigger. I have it in elderberry zinc, and I also have it in manuka honey. So please go to the store and get a few bags of this. You're gonna need it. Trust me, the cold season is not going to be benign this year. You're gonna need it. And like I said before, you know, most people out there that aren't, paying attention and boosting up their immune system, most people are getting sick 3 times a year. And those sicknesses are relatively benign. But the thing is they may be sick for a week. It takes 3 weeks to heal an infection that you have for a week. It's even longer if it's a serious infection where you may have, pulmonary issues or whatever, or chronic bronchitis. It's even worse. But the whole point here is that even with something benign that lasts for 5 days or 7 days, it takes 3 weeks to remodel the tissue and to heal. That means that if you, on average, get sick 3 times a year, your body is in an inflamed mode to try to remodel a quarter of the year, 20% of the year. And most people are sick like that year after year after year. So 25% of your adulthood life is trying to heal because of infection. And it's a lot worse because when you get older, it takes longer to heal and you get sicker quicker and longer and more severe, right? So you can see why it's so important about that improving your immune system and the compound effects of that improved immune system. Neutralize the pathogens early so you don't have to remodel your tissues as often and having a longer duration for modeling those tissues. Really important to slow down the aging process and to have vitality. Extremely important. And lastly, I have 5 different versions of the structural nanosilver soap. This one happens to be lemongrass, but I also have it in peppermint and charcoal tea tree and and a couple others. But I have 5 different versions. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the structural nanosilver soaps. This is a high quality soap, neutralizes pathogens. It's way better than Dove. So get a few bars of this for your household. It's a great soap. These are great soaps. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. All right, now we're going to get to the video. But please go to the store, pay attention to what I'm saying, because if you take the stuff that I take, if you listen to the protocols that I follow, you're going to improve your immune system, slow down the aging process, and have more vitality. This is PNN.
Israel's Ben Gurion International Airport has suspended operations, delaying incoming flights after the military
strikes towards Lebanon. Israeli forces say they've launched preemptive strikes on Hezbollah positions after accusing the armed group of preparing to launch an extensive attack. Well, these are images of the overnight Israeli airstrikes in southern Lebanon. There's been concern in recent weeks that Hezbollah, along with Iran, were planning to retaliate after the assassination of Hamas political chief Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran and a senior Hezbollah commander in Beirut. And these are images coming from northern Israel in the aftermath of those strikes on Lebanon. It appears to show Israel's Iron Dome defense system activating in the skies over the border region. Sirens are also going off in the area, and the Israeli Security Cabinet has called for an emergency meeting that's meant to take place in about an hour or so. Well, Al Jazeera's Zaina Hodder joins me on the phone now from Beirut. Zaina, so Israel says this is a preemptive strike to prevent Hezbollah attacking Israeli territory. What more can you tell us? What are you hearing there?
Well, Israel has carried out a significant aerial attack in a number of areas in southern Lebanon. What we're getting are reports of at least 40 strikes. So a widespread preemptive attack, that's how the Israeli army is calling this, a preemptive attack against Hezbollah. It is claiming that it learned that Hezbollah was planning an attack and that there was overnight preparation in Hezbollah's rocket array for a major and immediate attack on Israel. So that's what the army is saying, and that the fighter jets are removing the threat now. Hezbollah has promised to retaliate for the killing of its top commander, Fahd Shukr, on July the 30th. He was killed in an Israeli strike in the heart of Beirut, which really, even though he was a military target, the targeting in the heart of Beirut violated the unwritten rules of engagement, which both sides really have been sticking to in their ongoing confrontation. So since then, Hezbollah has been promising a response, and since then, there has been an intensification of the conflict between Hezbollah and Israel. We've seen more frequency in attacks, more sustained attacks by both parties. Now, there were non-stop strikes in southern Lebanon, but we are also getting reports of Hezbollah firing back using drones and rockets, and that there have been alerts across northern Israel. This is and has been a very dangerous conflict. Even though largely contained, there is really concern that it could expand and spiral out of control. We are expected to hear from the Israeli army spokesperson shortly. There are reports that this could, the initial wave, if you like, of attacks in southern Lebanon has now ended. So we're waiting to hear from the Israeli army to see whether or not these preemptive strikes end here, or whether they plan to carry out more strikes, which could in turn trigger a Hezbollah response and expand this conflict.
Yeah, Zaina, as you say, the strikes seem pretty extensive. Just talk us through where in southern Lebanon did they take place?
Well, most of the strikes were in the border area. Up to 5 kilometer deep territory along the 120 kilometer border is now a military zone. It's been evacuated of civilians. It's been repeatedly hit by the Israeli army in recent months. Much of the villages along that border have been leveled to the ground, but Hezbollah is still present there. And as of late, Israel too has been striking what it calls Hezbollah targets deeper inside Lebanon, across southern Lebanon. And just a few days ago, there was a targeted assassination in the southern city of Saida. This is 40 kilometers south of Beirut. Another strategy that Israel has been employing in recent months is targeted killings, taking out members and commanders of Hezbollah, not just Hezbollah, but other groups, Palestinian groups that are allied with Hezbollah. Remember, Hezbollah opened up this front in October to help its ally Hamas in Gaza. And Hezbollah has repeatedly said it will not stop or halt firing until there's a permanent ceasefire in Gaza. So this conflict will continue and will remain a dangerous conflict as long as the war in Gaza continues. And without that ceasefire, there can be no diplomatic solution to this conflict.
Like I said, this is going to escalate and create a certain type of diplomatic tension during the UN sessions, and there's going to be a catalytic point there's going to be an inflection point where there's going to be a larger conflict in the region that catalyst is going to happen at the diplomatic level on September 24th of this year. Okay, I am so precise with. I'm not just saying like the month. I'm telling you the day and where it's going to happen. There's going to be a UN high-level general debate that's going to cause a catalyst diplomatically that leads to further conflict in the Middle East. All right. I think that conflict is going to lead to further escalation in Asia between the United States and China. And I've been saying that the aftershock of the crisis that we went in 2020 is going to lead towards a war in Asia. It's not just, we humans have a tendency to just see things in silos, but everything is connected. There are these nodes of events, right? And there's connections, and some connections are tight connections, some are weak connections. And these changes also have probabilities. So you can have a weak connection with a very high probability, or the opposite, a very tight connection with a very low probability. So with different probabilities, there's this movement that takes place in our social system. All right. So it's connections, the conductivity level, weak or strong, and the probability of an event to be able to get to that new node. All right. I am seeing that what's happening in the region is leading to further conflict in Asia. And because we have spread our troops thin, we're not going to be able to be as robust in Asia with the first island chain with our Navy. There is a benefit, though, is that we're going to be able to cut off their oil from Iran. Because we have more naval ships there, we'll be able to cut off the oil to China. So that's really important, right? So, but the thing here is that this is not just one event. This is leading us towards the 2020. This is leading us towards the September 24th event, where Esau is strong in the UN.
Western nations have sent their envoys to Lebanon in recent months to try to find a diplomatic arrangement, but their efforts have failed. So this is a very dangerous conflict. Is this just an initial wave of attacks and this preemptive operation is over and we go back to what have we been witnessing in recent months, the sporadic escalation, 2 to 3 days of escalation and then 2 to 3 days
No,
of
it's going to happen.
Or are we going?
No, what it is you have an upward harmonic movement. So the trend is upward if you average the data, all right? But what you're seeing, what you're going to see is that people think that, oh, escalation then down, and then it's just kind of flat. So it's just oscillating, all right? And the average would be 0. It's not doing that. It's going, there's an incline, right, of activity. So time versus conflict, all right? And what's happening is that the average is moving upward, but there's an oscillation as we're going through time, but the oscillation is still moving in an upward trajectory. It's not flat, and it's not a flat average, and it's just oscillating. It's an incline, and it's oscillating. That's what we're seeing that's going on in the world. And that's why it's so important that that date, September 24th, 2024, in the UN, is a catalytic point. It's an inflection point.
To witness a very new and different phase in this conflict, which is going to involve more violent, more sustained strikes, and a much expanded conflict.
Yeah, Zaina, as you say, Israel and Hezbollah have been trading rockets and artillery attacks since the start of the Gaza war last October. Just remind our viewers of the background.
Well, another thing that's really important is it not predictive program, because I'm not really into that old predictive programming, but what I do think is that people that are in the arts sometimes can tap into the future, okay? Such as writers that are futuristic writers, or people that do movies, okay? Now follow follow my logic here, all right? It's really important. So I gotta create a new thing here. I gotta find it. Now, I want to say in 2024, or in 2014, I think it was 2014. Okay. There's a band called Angels and Airways. Okay. Angels and Airways. Okay. This is Tom DeLonge and his band. Tom DeLonge used to be, or is a member of Blink-182. All right. They kind of broke up and he created a new band, blah, blah, blah. All right. Tom DeLonge created a movie. And that movie is called, and they also did a soundtrack for the movie. And I thought that it was just called Love. I think the movie, yeah. It came out in 2021. I'm sorry. There's a movie and a soundtrack. Angels and Airways created this soundtrack. It was a double album release. It was part 1 and part 2, and it was called Love. The movie is called Love, and it was released in 2011. 2011, all right? And it's kind of like this artistic thing about, there was an alien crash during the Civil War that created, a cascade of events, and it's about understanding human to human interaction. They fast forward to someone in outer space, abandoned in the space station, and there's a world conflict that happens, and he loses communication with NASA. Well, guess what's happening now? It's not perfect, but what's happening in 2024, right? He did this movie in 2011. All right. What's happening in 2024 is stranded astronauts because of the Boeing Starship not working correctly, star capsule or whatever they call it, and that now they're going to be stuck until 2025. All right. Well, 2025 was, one of the first dates that President Xi said that he wanted Taiwan. Now, some experts, policy experts, are like kind of trying to push it to 2027. But the reality of the situation is the PLA said that they wanted the island chains controlled by 2025. All right. In the movie, there is some sort of world conflict that leads to some sort of like nuclear explosion or something. And he loses contact with the people on Earth. And eventually he has to he starts going crazy, literally, on the International Space Station. And then he goes into an escape module and gets back to Earth. All right. And then he's kind of, I don't know, is he dead or alive? He's kind of like in this quasi zone. I don't know, but it's an interesting movie. But some of the elements of the movie are playing out today, with the astronauts being abandoned in space, and that SpaceX is coming to save them, in 2025. It's not predictive programming. It's artistic representation, and that creativity that's tapping into maybe the Akashi record or whatever, but tapping into the future and writing it in a way where it does seem to be playing out. And there's thousands of examples of this, especially in science fiction, but in other works. It's not just in movies or in writing, but in art. There's just sometimes creative people have a tendency to be able to tap into the future. How that all works, I have no idea. Maybe there's some sort of Kabbalistic aspect to it. The idea to be able to suspend time and you can see the future, the past, and the present all in one. Maybe that's part of the physics of it. I don't know. But the bottom line is this: we're living in what's in the damn movie that was released in 2011. And it doesn't end nice. The whole idea is that the Earth has gone through a major calamity that was human created.
Escalation.
Well, this escalation, no doubt, is serious because it's not the first time Israel has carried out intensive strikes such as what we've witnessed. Yes, maybe the number is more than on previous occasions, but Israel has carried out significant aerial attacks on Lebanon in the past 10 months, targeting various locations nearly simultaneously. Last week, we had major attacks in the Bekaa region. That's in the east of the country, very close to the Syrian border. That's kilometers away from the main battleground along the border. And Israel targeted Hezbollah's weapons depots in that area. So Israel has really carried out significant aerial attacks on this country in the past. But the timing, Israel is claiming now that Hezbollah was preparing for a major and quote immediate attack on Israel for the killing of their commander Fuad Shukr. Will this mean that following these strikes, Hezbollah will carry out this major attack? It has promised to do so. And if it does, will this trigger even more harsh retaliation from Israel? Look, Hezbollah has repeatedly said time and time again, through its words, through its actions, that it doesn't want a full-on war with Israel. It opened this front for a reason. It said it opened up this front in solidarity with Gaza. It believes that by targeting areas in northern Israel, creating a military zone, displacing tens of thousands of people, puts enough pressure on the Israeli government. And they also believe that by bogging down divisions of the Israeli army in the north, it will relieve military pressure on Gaza. The Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah himself has said this time and time again. But the intentions of Israel is what everybody questions in Lebanon. Here there is a feeling that Israel is looking for, quote, any excuse to widen the conflict and to carry out more strikes and to divert attention from what they believe is Israel's defeat in Gaza. Even the Israeli defense minister a few days ago said that the attention is now moving from the southern front to the northern front, and that means to its fight with Hezbollah. But what Israel has been doing in recent months really is using this as an opportunity to degrade the military capabilities of Hezbollah by targeting its weapons depots, its rocket launchers, its infrastructure, its fighters. Lebanon has become a very similar battlefield as Syria. In Syria, Israel has repeatedly targeted Iranian and Iranian-linked assets for years now. And many are now comparing that battlefield to the Lebanon battlefield. And in many ways, Israel is acting with little restraint, which puts pressure on Hezbollah to create a new deterrence equation. And when you have this situation where Israel acts with no restraint and Hezbollah needing to impose some sort of deterrence, that is when the situation does become dangerous, because it means Hezbollah will need to act. It will need to respond. And after it does that, what will Israel do in return? So no doubt, again, this conflict, a new turning point, yet a new dangerous phase. And we've seen this time and time again in the past 10 months. But if these initial strikes, or this initial wave, if you like, has ended, and this round is over, maybe there will be calm, but for how long is the question?
Yeah, and just to remind our viewers, Zaina, you talk about this growing concern that Hezbollah and Iran were preparing or would prepare a retaliatory strike against Israel after the assassination of Hamas leader Ismail Haniyeh in Tehran and that senior Hezbollah commander in Beirut. How much are those concerns playing out here tonight?
Well, no doubt, many Lebanese have been on the edge. They are concerned. This is a country which has seen years of political instability.
I want you to listen to me here. All right. Some people either have kids that are too old to get into the military now, or, maybe, a lot of them are retired, right, already. But the thing is that the ones that have children that are getting to college age, that are maybe at an age where they may be going to college next year, or maybe even this year, right? Because the new school year is starting. I'll tell you, it may be, you need to really sit down and talk to your child and go, you know what, even if they are college prepped and going down that road, that they may want to enlist in the military, because there's going to be the great event that takes place. And it's best that they are prepared and be a part of it and be potentially hopefully on the winning side, than to be sitting on the sidelines and not be a major participant. We are seeing something that is emerging that may be as significant as what the greatest generation had to endure in World War II. And we don't have enough people in this country that are God, country, and family. So if you have a child that is moving towards college in, this year or even next year, you may want to have that conversation that military service is a noble endeavor, and that the country may be needing you for that service. Because the people that are hide when the country needs, a lot of these people later in life regret not serving their country when you need it. Now, I'm not talking about proxy wars. Proxy wars are bullshit wars. All right, I'm talking about real war. All right, and that's what's coming. The Iraq, Afghanistan, that was on false pretenses with the whole weapons of mass destruction stuff. All right, Vietnam, false pretenses. World War II wasn't false pretenses. All right, so, and we're moving in that direction. So you may want to actually sit down with your child and discuss their options. That it is a noble endeavor to serve your country. And it's really important that in the United States that we have a citizenry that is God, country, and family. That's what's going to make this country strong. And, respecting service and country and the flag, that's where this is going. Now, there's going to be a lot of people that'll try to run, but the people that try to run are the people that will regret it in later times.
This is a country that's witnessed the financial collapse 5 years ago, and it is still reeling from that financial collapse. People have lost their savings in banks. And what people talk about almost every day is, what are we going to do in the event of this conflict widening, expanding? We don't have money or savings to be able to rent apartments outside of Beirut, or areas which would be considered safer than Beirut. Some people have started to stockpile on water and food, and these hotels are now empty. This is the tourist season. People were expecting expats to return home, and tourists to bring in much needed hard currency. The taxi driver in the street tells you, you're my first customer in 2 hours. People have left the capital because Israel has threatened in the past, and it has hit Beirut southern suburbs in the past, which is considered a Hezbollah stronghold. In fact, that was where Israel killed the top commander, Fuad Shukr, on July the 30th. People have moved out of that area. So people are concerned about what will happen, and people are concerned about making ends meet. A lot of people rely on, day-to-day work. So there is concern. A lot of airlines have canceled their flights to Lebanon. Now we're hearing that Ben Gurion Airport in Tel Aviv has suspended and postponed all flights as a result of the situation. So yes, there is concern, but there are others who will say that they believe that any escalation will be controlled simply because both parties, Israel and Hezbollah, know the consequences of widening this conflict. Yes, Israel can hurt Hezbollah, but Hezbollah too has long-range precision-guided missiles that can strike anywhere in Israel. At the moment, rockets have not been landing in Haifa, Israel's third largest city, which is approximately 30-40 kilometers from the border, which Hezbollah can easily target. Rockets have not been falling on Tel Aviv. So far, both sides have avoided targeting population centers. Very much surgical strikes, but there's no doubt civilians have been caught in the crossfire in this conflict. More than 130 civilians on the side of the border have been killed in the ongoing hostilities. 21 paramedics as well have been killed. They have not been spared. Every time, some of them have been deliberately hit as they enter the military zone very close to the border to remove, bodies underneath the rubble. So this is a conflict that has had an impact and felt across the country, even though it has been largely confined to the border area.
Zaina, stay with us, won't you? Because the Israeli army has reacted. Their spokesman, Daniel Hagari, said that Israel is acting in self-defense from Hezbollah. Let's just listen to hear what he said.
A short while ago, the IDF identified Hezbollah terrorist organization preparing to fire missiles, rockets towards Israeli territory. In a self-defense act to remove these threats, the IDF is striking terror targets in Lebanon from which Hezbollah was planning to launch their attacks on Israeli civilians. This follows more than 6,700 rockets, missiles, and explosive UAVs fired by Hezbollah at Israeli families, homes, and communities since October 8th. Hezbollah will soon fire rockets and possibly missiles and UAVs towards Israeli territory. We will shortly update the Home Front Command defensive guidelines for those in Israel. From right next to the homes of Lebanese civilians in the south of Lebanon, we can see that Hezbollah is preparing to launch an extensive attack on Israel. While endangering the Lebanese civilians, we warn the civilians located in the areas where Hezbollah is operating to move out of harm's way immediately for their own safety. Hezbollah's ongoing aggression risks dragging the people of Lebanon, the people of Israel, and the whole region into a wider escalation. Israel will not tolerate Hezbollah's attacks on our civilians. We are operating in self-defense from Hezbollah and any other enemy that joins in their attacks against us. And we are ready to do everything we need to defend the people of Israel.
Make sure to subscribe to our channel to get latest news from Al Jazeera.
All right, so that's Al Jazeera. Okay, this is going to be live now.
It hasn't really. The only thing I would say is that they're not
For the analyst.
This was 13 hours ago. So airstrikes killed dozens in Gaza before ceasefire talk. This was actually before the actual hit. Okay, so now I want BBC.
I'll tell you what happened.
We're beginning in the Middle East, but Israel's climate.
Before we do that, please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and help support my work and also help to support your health by getting the supplements. I have many different supplements, and I have these protocols that if you follow, you could slow down the aging process, increase your longevity and your vitality, and boost up your immune system. Please go and get the omega-3 supplement that I have. This will help with your LDL levels. This will lower your LDL levels and increase your HDL levels. This helps to improve your cardiovascular health. In addition, omega-3 helps to prevent your red blood cells from sticking. Very important when it comes to trying to mitigate the overclotting situation in the post-crisis that we went through in 2020. So omega-3 is really important to add to your daily routine. Why? Because of the cardiovascular benefits. Really important. Very, very important. I have a very easy to digest multivitamin. Multivitamins are important because they're cofactors for enzymatic activity. You need proper enzymatic activity for cellular processes. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the multivitamin. I have a new product on my store. It's called nattokinase. Nattokinase helps to break up clots because nattokinase is fibrinolytic. In addition, it helps to break up, it's been known to help break up a certain type of glycoprotein, in 2020. And in addition, nattokinase in higher doses can help to bring down your cholesterol levels. So nattokinase should be taken every day to improve your cardiovascular health. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take nattokinase every day. I have another product on my store that also helps with cardiovascular disease and also helps with improving your bone structure, and that is vitamin K2 MK7. What vitamin K2 MK7 does is it helps to absorb calcium, helps to maintain bone health, but when you couple it with other things like D3, ashwagandha, turmeric, C60, omega-3, when you do that, you're actually improving your cardiovascular health, because that type of protocol is going to reduce inflammation in the vascular level, reduce the sugar content in your bloodstream, and the K2 MK7 and the D3 will help to reduce and help to prevent additional plaque. Really important. So again, take vitamin K2 MK7, which is what I have on my store. It's a new product that I have. You should be taking it every day for improved bone health. But if you follow the protocol where you take the vitamin K2 MK7, D3, C60, omega-3, turmeric, and ashwagandha, when you do that, you're going to actually improve your vascular system and reduce the formation of plaque. And the plaque that you have created with proper diet, exercise, and the protocol, you're going to over time reduce that plaque buildup. That means that your blood pressure will improve. That means you'll have better blood flow. A lot of people that have cardiovascular problems, they'll start to have, not everybody, but you'll be able to see people have a buildup of plaque in their carotid. So sometimes it's like 50% blockage. And when they do these types of protocols where they change their diet, they do moderate exercise, and then they take K2, MK7, D3, ashwagandha with the turmeric, with the C60 and the omega-3, that over time you'll start to see that the plaques will start to diminish. That's the natural way to do it. There are other people that have done it using the allopathic way, where what they did was they took the K2, MK7, the D3 with metformin, and they took a statin, and they saw a similar process. The method that I just told you is the natural supplementation method. So please go to my store and get the vitamin K2 MK7. Really important, right? Take it every day. It'll improve your bone health, but also it will improve your cardiovascular health if you follow the protocol. Clarity factor, really important to get rid of that brain fog and to get those neurons firing. Because if you keep those neurons firing, you'll be able to think faster, you'll be able to consolidate memory, and you'll be slowing down the aging of your neurons, your natural aging of your neurons. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the clarity factor. This is synergistic with items that help to build up your mitochondrial health. So again, it's all about stacking. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the clarity factor. Like I said, D3 is really important, especially with K2. All right, these are synergistic with the stacking, so really important. Please go to the store and get the vitamin D3. It's a gene expression cofactor. That means that with vitamin D3, you're going to be able to express genes in your cells for better cellular processes. So your tissues are performing better, your organs are performing better. In addition, if a cell is infected and it needs to go through apoptosis, D3 helps to do that. Really important, especially during the cold season, especially during the aftershock of 2020. So taking vitamin D is really important. And if you follow the protocol that I've been telling you, taking higher doses of vitamin D3 and the taking MK7K2, you'll be able to reverse osteoarthritis. You know, there's a method to do that. All right, I mentioned it. Listen to those videos. Pay attention. It's usually higher doses of D3 for about 7 to 9 months. You got to do light resistance training on the joint that you're trying to remodel. And over time, you have to drink milk. You have to ingest calcium. And over time, what will happen is that your joint will be remodeled. The tendons will get stronger. The ligaments will get stronger. The cartilage will get better, and the bone matrix will remodel. And over time, what will happen is the osteoarthritis will go away. The thing is that you have to take higher doses of D3. High doses of D3 can cause some sort of toxicity. And normally what happens is you'll notice that you'll get a brain fog. The moment you start to get the brain fog, which typically happens months of taking high doses, that then you go back to your normal dosage. So let me tell you how I did it to reverse osteoarthritis, because I used to do triathlons and I used to do marathons and half marathons and all that when I was in my 20s and 30s, and I did develop osteoarthritis, but then I reversed it. How I reversed it was my normal baseline of D3 is 10,000 units. That's two soft gels. Okay, each soft gel is 5,000 units. All right, so my baseline is 2 soft gels. So what I did was I increased it to 20. I increased it to a level of 20,000 units or 25,000. So instead of taking 2 a day, I took 4 or 5 a day and spread it throughout the day. And you don't take it all at once. And you drink like 2 glasses of 8 ounces of milk. So you're taking about 16 ounces of milk. And usually like 1%. All right. And light resistance training, very light resistance training on the joints that you're trying to remodel. It takes about 7 to 9 months. The first month or 2, it will be more painful. It will be more painful. That's a good thing. That means it's working. All right. And then after that 2 months, then the pain starts to eliminate and you start to get stronger. And you do that, you try to do that for 9 months. But some people, because of their BMI, you know, and metabolism, they may start getting some brain fog. It usually takes place at around the 7 or 9 month mark. Once you start to get the brain fog, you go back down to your baseline D3 level. For me, it was 10,000 units, which is just 2 soft gels. All right, so I went from 5 to 2. for me, I started having that brain fog in the 7th month mark, and then I stopped. I was lucky because I was able to remodel those osteoarthritic areas just with a 7-month protocol. Sometimes people will mostly be healed, but need another cycle of this. So you wait a few months, maybe 4 or 5 months at your baseline D3, and then you redo it. You increase your D3 levels, and you're taking the MK7. You have to do this with this. Take the normal dose with the K2, and you're taking the D3 at the higher dose level in your second cycle. You would be doing this K2, MK7 also in your first cycle, but the point here is that for some people, which I didn't need to do this, but for some people you have to do 2 cycles of this to be able to get the osteoarthritis. It all depends on how bad it is, how long you've had it, that sort of thing. But and then you do that for that second cycle from 7 to 9 months. And if you get a little bit of toxicity, which you'll notice it's just a little bit of brain fog, then you just go back to your baseline and then stop. And your joint will most likely be remodeled. There's a high chance of it being remodeled, and your osteoarthritis is drastically diminished or completely eliminated. For me, it was eliminated. And I only had to do 1 cycle, and I had to do it for 7 months. But some professional athletes, they have to be at much higher doses. Some of these doses have to be at like the 100,000 unit level. And you got to be careful to make sure that you don't get toxicity of D3 when you're at those high levels. And the moment you start feeling that it's maybe too much, then you go back to baseline. All right. But the key is light resistance training, drinking 16 ounces of milk. So that's like, drinking maybe an 8 ounce in the morning and another 8 ounce in the evening. You spread your D3 amount throughout the day. For me, it was 5 soft gels. Some people, it might be a little less, or it might be a little bit more, depending on your BMI. And you have to take it with K2, vitamin K2, MK7, and it'll help to remodel the osteoarthritis. So I just told you by using D3 and the K2 how to improve your cardiovascular system and how to remodel osteoarthritis, to eliminate it or to drastically diminish it. Now for me, it took me 7 months. Again, when you start this, the first month or 2 will be more painful than normal, but that is showing it's working. All right. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. I have given you great advice to being able to take charge of your health with cardiovascular, to improve your cardiovascular health, and to improve your bone health and your joint health. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com.
Has promised he will do everything to restore security at its northern border with Lebanon. That's after the Israeli Defense Forces launched airstrikes against Hezbollah. Israel says it identified preparations for a large-scale attack. Now, these pictures just released by the IDF show them attacking a number of Hezbollah targets. Israel's defense minister has issued a 48-hour state of emergency in the country. Now, meanwhile, Hezbollah said it launched more than 300 rockets and drones at Israel and targeted 11 military sites in response to the killing of its top commander in Beirut last month. The group has said this was an initial response and that it has completed phase 1 of an attack on Israel. These are live pictures from the Israel-Lebanon border, which has had a number of missile strikes in the last couple of hours. And this was the IDF's announcement earlier from IDF spokesperson Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari.
From right next to the home.
At Harbor Freight, we're committed to ensuring our tools are expertly engineered and built to last. How do we do it? First,
From right next to the homes of Lebanese civilians in the south of Lebanon, we can see that Hezbollah is preparing to launch an extensive attack on Israel, while endangering the Lebanese civilians We warned the civilians located in the areas where Hezbollah is operating to move out of harm's way immediately for their own safety. Hezbollah's ongoing aggression risks dragging the people of Lebanon, the people of Israel, and the whole region into a wider escalation. Israel will not tolerate Hezbollah's attacks on our civilians. We are operating in self-defense from Hezbollah and any other enemy that joins in their attacks against us. And we are ready to do everything we need to defend the people of Israel.
That's the IDF spokesperson Daniel Hagari. Well, meanwhile, the Pentagon has said in its words, the US is postured to support Israel, and the President, Joe Biden, has instructed officials to maintain close communication on developments. Well, Laura Blumenfield is a Middle East analyst and former senior policy advisor on the State Department's Israeli-Palestinian negotiating team. She told us more about the strikes and reactions from both parties.
Well, the Israelis have called for a 48-hour period of emergency. Their Secretary of Defense, the Defense Minister Galant, is calling on the population. So it's not just one night, one and done. On the other hand, so much about these exchanges since October 7th has been not so much about being strong, but being smart. And so it's kind of our intelligence versus your intelligence kind of battle here. The Israelis were clearly caught by surprise on October 7th. The Shukr assassination was an intelligence coup for Israel, as was the Haniya assassination in Tehran. So I think Hezbollah is feeling like they need to show that they can in some way penetrate and kind of shift to that kind of dignity back into balance. It's possible that, they already have, it's horrible to say, but wounded one person in Akko, which is quite deep into Israeli territory, that might satisfy the need, for a publicly saving face.
Now, also just one update for you. The Lebanese ministry, according to news agencies as well as local reports, is saying that one died in the Israeli strike in the south of Lebanon. Our news correspondent, John Donaldson, is in Jerusalem, and he told us about the fears of escalations in the region.
This is clearly a significant and ongoing escalation. We're not at the point of full-scale war yet, but that is clearly the fear, not just here in Israel, but in Lebanon and the wider region. Israel saying around 100 fighter jets were used in this operation last night, hitting around 200 targets in Lebanon. Now, if that's the case, then that is the most serious attack on Hezbollah since the full-scale war between Israel and Lebanon back in 2006. Now, in the last few weeks, we've seen intense diplomatic efforts to try and stop the crisis in Gaza escalating into a wider regional conflict. But the United States has warned that the failure to get a ceasefire and hostage release deal in Gaza could see this escalate into a wider regional conflict. At the moment,
they're missing the point. They're missing the point. This is not governed by normal international affairs negotiation tactics. It is governed by something very metaphysical and very powerful and much more intelligent than we are. And the thing is that we keep on making the same mistake thinking that we're going to be able to mitigate this. There needs to be an all-out war, and whoever wins, wins. We can't keep on kicking the can down the road because of the development of unconventional warfare, especially by Iran. That's the reality of the situation. And, like Niall Ferguson said, not everyone deserves a country. You have to fight for it, and you have to maintain it. You have to be able to cultivate it. You need to be able to defend it. And not everybody can do that, And the thing is that region, Esau, the soul root of Esau needs to battle the soul root of Jacob, and whoever wins, wins. It's not about ceasefires and hostages and all this. That's not going to change anything. That's not going to change anything. An all-out war will change stuff. Please go to my store and get the new product that I have, the Ubiquinol. Ubiquinol you should be taking every day. It's the active form for CoQ10. CoQ10 and Ubiquinol, the active form of CoQ10, Ubiquinol, it's an antioxidant. It will help with energy levels to increase because it works with the mitochondria. and it's also helps with your neurons. So please go to the store, get ubiquinol. It's the active form of CoQ10. It's very high quality. Please go to my store. It's a new product. You should be taking this every day. I've been taking ubiquinol for years. Now I can finally get it on the store and offer it to you. So please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and take ubiquinol every day as part of your daily routine. Like I said, it helps with your neurons, it helps with energy, and it's an antioxidant. So please go to the store and get the ubiquinol. Some people can't sleep at night. Please go to the store and get the Good Night formula. It has melatonin and tryptophan in it. It's a very high quality product. You need 3 cycles of REM sleep to be able to detoxify your body, to be well rested and have energy, and to be able to consolidate memory. If you are sleep deprived, you will increase your chances of dementia and having other problems. Cardiovascular disease can increase if you have problems sleeping. So please go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the Good Night formula if you are having problems sleeping. Vitamin B complex, really important, especially B1 through B5, to help improve your energy production with your mitochondria, because B1 through B5 helps with the electron transport chain for your mitochondria to produce ATP. You need ATP for the energy source in your cells, but also as you get older, your energy levels go down. You need to help boost that up. And you need high levels of ATP to have good neuron health and a good immune system. So please go to the store, get the vitamin B complex to improve your cellular metabolism and your energy production. And lastly, it's really important to get a good probiotic. I have 2 types of probiotic. I have it in a powdered form, which I take every day. There's a little scooper. You just mix it with your food or with water, take it every day, or you can also get it in the VeggieCap form. A good gut biome is going to reduce that chronic inflammation in your gut. A good gut biome will improve your metabolism and improve your energy absorption. It'll improve the communication between your gut and your liver and your gut and your brain. Poor gut biome is associated with depression and poor mood. So please go to the store, improve your gut biome, reduce that inflammatory response. If you have a gut that has a lot of inflammation, chances are you get sicker because the lining of the gut is perturbed and it's easier for pathogens to get in. So you want to mitigate that. So you need to have a good gut biome and maintain that mucosal lining. And in that lining is an immunoglobulin called IgA. So that's really important. You reduce leaky gut syndrome if you have a good gut biome and reduce the inflammation in the gut. So these are all really important things to maintain health, reduce that inflammatory response, improve your metabolism, and over time, what's going to happen is that you're going to start aging slower because your body is healing. Your body is building up energy. People that get older, their energy levels go down. Their inflammation levels go up. You bring down those inflammation levels and bring up your energy levels, and your body is moving back closer to when you were younger. So please go to my store and get the probiotic. Really important, very important.
This morning, you'd have to say that those diplomatic efforts have not worked.
And John, Hezbollah has said that this was in response to the killing of its top commander, Cottrell, on the 30th of July. Of course, there's also the fact that Ismail Haniyeh was assassinated in Iran, and that Iran, which backs Hezbollah, also vowed a strong response. I wonder whether, putting all of this into context, can we see this as tit for tat, or is there the real risk that this could meet further responses from Hezbollah as well as Iran?
Well, I think tit for tat kind of downplays the significance of this. When Israel is believed to have assassinated the leader of Hamas, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran the day before they had assassinated, as you say, a very senior Hezbollah commander in Lebanon, Fuad Shukr, and that we have been waiting for some sort of response from Iran and from Hezbollah. Now, in the past few weeks, that response has not really come. There has been some cross-border activity between Hezbollah and Israel in the north, but not really significant until this morning. And we've not had any kind of response from Iran to the targeting of Ismail Haniyeh inside the Iranian capital. So the fears have been for the last few weeks that that response was coming. And certainly from the north, from Hezbollah, we've got something this morning.
And John, you're in Jerusalem. We've been hearing these reports of sirens that have been blaring in Israel as well in certain cities. I wonder what your assessment is of the security situation in Israel, especially given that the New York Times is reporting that this attack by Hezbollah was also aiming Tel Aviv.
Yeah, and of course, Tel Aviv is deep into Israel. It's in central Israel, really. So that would be hugely significant if they manage to penetrate Israel's missile defense system. Here in Jerusalem this morning, I have to say it feels relatively normal. I'm sure lots of people will be waking up and reading the news and have concerns. We did see some military helicopters flying across the sky earlier this morning, some heading north. But certainly in Jerusalem, it feels relatively normal at the moment.
Well, a reminder, you'll see a
Start your journey to winning today. The $700,000 Cash Me If You Can giveaway is going on now through August 31st.
Well, a reminder, you'll see a QR code on your screen that will take you to our BBC News Live page on our website and app, where our correspondents are providing updates and analysis. Our BBC Newsroom is also bringing in any reaction and information as it comes. In the meantime, here on the News Channel, let's speak to our senior international correspondent who's in southern Lebanon. That's Ola Guerin. Ola, good to have you. Now, given all your experience and your time there, could you put this into perspective for us? Because the New York Times is reporting that Tel Aviv was a target. We know that Ben Gurion is now open, the international airport is open. But when you look back at this war, how significant an escalation is this?
Well, we know that the Israelis are saying Tel Aviv would have been targeted, but that didn't actually happen because of their preemptive strike. We're certainly in a new stage as a day. We have been expecting this retaliation for some time now. It was at the end of last month that...
And as they keep on stressing that there may be an attack on Tel Aviv, and let's say Iron Dome doesn't work for whatever reason, there's too many missiles, hitting Tel Aviv would be like an enemy of the United States hitting New York. And that creates a whole set of new issues and a re-galvanizing effort in Israel to knock out Hezbollah and Iran. And this is why I'm saying that this point in time between August 24th to September 24th is really important. And that 24th date in September could be an inflection point where things get a lot worse. We're seeing this inching up the escalation ladder of conflict. So pay attention. Tel Aviv is a major flashpoint for further conflict in that region.
An Israeli strike killed a senior, top Hezbollah commander, Fuad Shukr, in the heart of Hezbollah's stronghold in southern Beirut, a place called Dahia. And Hezbollah had vowed it would respond. Now, similarly, the Iranians had vowed they would respond for the assassination of the Hamas leader, Ismail Haniyeh, in Tehran. Both had held off, and the feeling had been that they were waiting to see how the ceasefire attempts being led by the Americans and the Egyptians and the Qataris would play out. Well, certainly Hezbollah is waiting no more. They said in a statement this morning that this was the first phase of a large-scale operation and that its full response would take some time and that the punishment will be harsh and severe. Now, I think we need to look carefully at the targets that were hit by Hezbollah today so far. They were 11 military targets inside Israel, so not critical infrastructure, not civilian areas, but military targets. This is according to Hezbollah. We have had no reports from Israel yet of any casualties, and certainly no reports of civilian casualties. Similarly, on this side in Lebanon, the Israelis have hit more than 200 targets, they say, but we have not received any reports of civilian casualties. I should tell you, Azadeh, that about 30 or 40 minutes ago, in the hills behind us, we saw two very large plumes of smoke from two detonations, two explosions. Israel had obviously struck close to the border area, which is in that direction. But I think the key to this is that so far, we are not being told that any civilians have been injured or killed, because that again could be the trigger for another escalation. It's by no means clear when Hezbollah plans to carry out its next phase. It says it will happen, but it certainly may not happen today. So I think for now, Israel has got its preemptive strike in. Hezbollah has managed to fire, by its own account, 320 rockets into Israel and sending some drones. So for the moment, Hezbollah has made its point. Now we have to see if Israel is going to take further action.
All right, Ola Garin there, thank you for all that insight. And again, Ola there has raised that there are still a lot of questions that haven't been answered, including verifying nature of those military targets, as well as how things could develop, of course.
All right, as the world turns, amazing. Okay, this is CNN.
Now, Israel and Hezbollah have traded strikes across the
Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the NAD+. This is important for energy, neuro health. It also helps to repair mitochondria and DNA. So this is really important to take every day. Now I finally can put it on my store and provide it to you as part of your daily routine as an anti-aging protocol and also a longevity protocol. And by improving your DNA repair, improving your mitochondria, improving your neural health, increasing your energy, these are all things that are really important to boost up your immune system. And that is so important, especially in the aftermath of 2020. And what we're potentially going to go through in months, if not years to come. So it's really important. Take my advice. I've been taking NAD+ every day. So it's really important to you to do the same thing. It's synergistic with many things that I've been telling you about, like resveratrol and C60 and ubiquinol and a lot of other stuff, right? Taking NAD+ with Clarity Factor as a stack with C60 is a great stack, right? So it's really important to understand that you can take things to repair your DNA. You can take things to repair your mitochondria. You can take things that be neuroprotective, and you can slow down the aging process, boost up your immune system, have more vitality. So please go to the store and get the NAD+. This works also well with a stack with niacin and other things like taking, like I said, resveratrol and also NMN. NMN I do not provide. You can get that from Amazon, but I also take NMN every day. I don't have that on my store, but NAD+ is very important to take. Again, it helps with your energy levels. It helps to repair your mitochondria and repair your DNA. It helps with neural protection. It helps with your muscles. This is super important to be taking every day as it's kind of like an anti-aging protocol. But again, what is good for anti-aging also helps with the immune system. They're not mutually exclusive. They're inclusive, right? So it's really important. So please go to my store and get the NAD+. I finally have been able to get some really high quality, other supplements that I've been taking for a long time that you can add to your protocol too. So please go to the store and get the NAD+.
The Lebanese border. The latest round of attacks began early this morning when Israeli forces launched what it called a preemptive strike against Hezbollah targets in Lebanon.
Hezbollah says it launched more than 300 rockets and several dozen drones toward Israel. Hezbollah calls it the first phase of its retaliation for the recent killing of its top military commander. It also describes the attacks as a complete success. Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu of Israel said this about those strikes.
This morning, we detected Hezbollah's preparation to attack Israel. Together with the Minister of Defense and the Chief of Staff, we instructed the IDF to act proactively to remove the threat. The IDF has since been acting vigorously to thwart the threats. It destroyed thousands of rockets aimed at the north of the country. It also thwarted many other threats and operates with great strength, both in defense and attack. I ask you, citizens of Israel, to comply with the directives of the Home Front Command. We are determined to do everything to protect our country, return the residents of the North safely to their homes, and continue to uphold a simple rule. Whoever hurts us, we hurt them.
Now, CNN is covering the breaking.
I am an absolute natural spender. I've never had a budget. If I'm thinking about a future, about a down payment or a kid, savings is really important.
Now, CNN is covering the breaking developments as only we can. CNN's Ben Wiedemann, Nick Robertson, and Nada Bashir are in the Middle East. Camila DeChalis is standing by watching response from the White House. And our military and
The accuracy from CNN is so profound. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and support PNN, not CNN. CNN is supported by you buying Procter & Gamble products that actually poison you and reduce your immune system. By supporting PNN, not CNN, but by supporting PNN, your immune system will improve and your health will improve. And you follow my protocols, and you'll be able to actually see the benefits of what I've been saying for years. I mean, the proof's in the pudding. I do what I am recommending, right? What I say to take to improve your immune system, to slow down the aging process I take, all right? It's amazing. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and support PNN, not CNN. Procter & Gamble wants to poison you, all right? Take NAC. NAC helps to bring up your glutathione levels. That's really important. NAC is an antioxidant that'll help to improve your brain function. All right, it's an antioxidant. So please go to the store, take the NAC. It'll help to detoxify the body. Go to the store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get NAC. A lot of people don't understand what NAC does. NAC helps to detoxify the body. It's an antioxidant that helps to build up the glutathione levels, which is another pathway to reduce free radicals and stress in the cell. And it'll improve your brain function, your neural function. Really important. Take NAC every day. I take NAC every day. I finally now can provide it to my audience on my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. So please take this NAC. Help support my work. Help boost up your immune system. Help boost up your health. Bring down those free radicals. And you are going to improve your longevity. You're going to improve your vitality. This is PNN.
White House, and our military and global affairs experts are here as well. We started Beirut, though, with CNN senior international correspondent Ben Wiedemann. Ben, let's start first with what we know about.
Why is it speaking so quickly here? Play back normal.
Ben Wiedemann, Then let's start first with what we know about the success, the effectiveness, as we should describe it, of this attack. What people killed in Lebanon.
Well, in terms of the effectiveness, Victor, we don't know yet. What we know is that Hezbollah has put out several statements saying that their military strikes have been completed successfully. They say they launched more than 320 missiles at 11 military targets along the border with Israel. All of them, for instance, surveillance, observation, and air control posts along that border. They said that the purpose of those 11 strikes was to open the way for drones, it said, to go into the heart of Israel. One statement claiming that the target of those strikes in the heart of Israel, one of them was a major military facility. We have yet to hear any comment or details of whether that site was hit, what that site was, and the extent of the damage that occurred there. As far as the situation in Lebanon itself, the official national news agency of Lebanon has described the strikes by Israel this morning as the most intense that Lebanon has seen since hostilities began last October. I saw one estimate that there were at least 25 sites that were hit in really just the course of a few hours. And our understanding is there are still some strikes occurring in the south of the country. Now, the Ministry of Health is reporting a preliminary death toll of 3 people. One individual was killed on a strike in a car in a town near the border. 2 others were killed in a strike further away from the border. Now, the situation in Beirut remains calm. We haven't seen any Israeli warplanes overhead. There have been many cancellations of ingoing and outgoing flights here in Beirut at the airport, which is right behind me, but other flights seem to be operating normally. Now, Israel seemed to indicate that they had knocked out much of Hezbollah's rocket launching capability in the south of the country. But Victor, it's important to keep in mind that Hezbollah's real serious weaponry, its long-range precision missiles, are not kept in the border area. They're much further north in more fortified areas. We saw twice in the last week Israel did strike what appears to be weapons depots in the Bekaa Valley to the east of here. We saw some very large secondary explosions, but it's believed that Hezbollah has capabilities that it has not used in this round. It's 6 p.m. local time, which is in 4 hours. Hezbollah leader Hassan Nasrallah is going to give a speech. Now, the strikes of this morning, Hezbollah said, were the first phase. In this speech, we'll probably get an idea whether there actually will be a second phase or not. Victor?
Yeah, it was notable to hear him say it was the first phase. What does that mean? Where does it go from here? Ben Wiedemann, thank you for that. Let's go now to CNN International Diplomatic.
Like I said, this is all about moving towards the September 24th date, and that is an inflection point. This thing is going to get worse, not better. Even with a ceasefire, quote, exchange of hostages, most of those hostages are probably dead already. And what is a shame is that our president of the United States, President Biden, and Vice President Harris didn't do a damn thing to secure the release of all the American hostages. Unacceptable, totally unacceptable. Right there should be the reason why Harris doesn't elevate to the presidency. Well, on top of it, her party has supporters that want to burn the American flag, which is totally unacceptable. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com. And if you get too much inflammation because of Democrats around you, or the news promulgating, lies and deceit, and you have just too much inflammation, you want to go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get turmeric. Turmeric will bring down that inflammation. Chronic inflammation weakens the immune system. So what you want to do is you want to take turmeric every day. If you're not feeling well and you got some problem, maybe a soreness, because of an injury or whatever, need to take more, to speed up this healing process, right? But the turmeric is really important to bring down an over-inflamed body, right? And if you work out, taking turmeric right before you work out is actually going to help you recover faster. So there's many benefits to turmeric. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the turmeric. It's synergistic with many of the products that I have, but especially with ashwagandha. Ashwagandha will control your blood glucose levels and bring down inflammation vascularly. So when you take these together, they help with your cardiovascular health, and they'll also bring down that over-inflamed response in your body. Really important. Over-inflamed response brings down your immune system. You want to boost up your immune system. And by boosting up your immune system, you're going to be healthier. You're not going to have opportunistic infections as often. You're going to be able to weather, cold seasons better, and you'll be able to fight cancers better. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and boost up your immune system. Bring down inflammation. Slow down the aging process. Chronic inflammation increases aging. Take turmeric and ashwagandha and lower that inflammatory response. Resveratrol, really important. It's antioxidant. It also gets rid of senescent cells. It's part of an anti-aging protocol. It's synergistic with C60. It's synergistic with ubiquinol. It's synergistic with NAD+. It's synergistic with NAC. See, you notice a pattern here? It's about bringing down inflammation, neutralizing pathogens, soaking up free radicals, taking antioxidants, and stacking. And everything I'm saying works together in a way where it's going to be beneficial for you. It's going to be a force multiplier. So please go to my store and get the resveratrol. Vitamin C, really important. It's an antioxidant. It also helps with your skin. You should be taking it every day. If you're not feeling well, take a double dose of it. Drink it with filtered water.
Nick Robertson, who is in Tel Aviv. Nick, let's just take a quick step back, because this all started with Israel launching what it called a preemptive strike, an act of self-defense to thwart what they said was an imminent attack from Hezbollah. Walk us through this timeline, and also Hezbollah's strikes. Was that a reaction to Israel's preemptive strikes, or was that more an act of retaliation for the killing of Hezbollah's military commander?
Yeah, I think if we go back about a week, you can see there was a significant escalation of strikes between Hezbollah and Israel. And over the past couple of days, Israel seemed to be indicating that it was detecting an increasing level of threat coming from Hezbollah. The Security Cabinet met in the early hours of the morning, as the IDF said, more or about 100 aircraft were hitting 40 locations, taking out what they say were thousands of missile launch barrels, not the missiles themselves, but launch barrels. And that was their preemptive strike. And as you say, Hezbollah was able to launch what they claim were 320 missiles and drones back towards Israel. It's not clear, what was preemptive and what was Hezbollah actually at the ready. Not normal for Hezbollah to have so many weapons at the ready to go at any one time. So it seems that the intelligence Israel was basing its preemptive strike on had a degree of accuracy, because Hezbollah had more weapons than normal ready to go, and they did fire. The IDF say that the targets were mostly in the north, but some were in central Israel. The IDF has not given any specifics about any of the military sites, that the 11 military sites that Hezbollah claims to have targeted. And the IDF is also saying that the damage was very little damage. We know of one civilian only who was wounded by falling shrapnel, and that was in the north, in Akko. To the north, the country went on to a higher state of alert. The planes were stopped from flying out of Ben Gurion Airport here in Tel Aviv. They've restarted now, they're delayed, many of them. but there were stricter conditions put on social gatherings, leisure and cultural activities. Banning was banned on the beach here in Tel Aviv until half an hour ago. And now closer to Tel Aviv and extending closer to the northern border, some of those restrictions have been lifted, but tighter controls are in place in northern Israel, close to that border, warning people to stay close to their shelters as Israel analyzes Hezbollah's next move and the impact Hezbollah has had on them.
Yeah, Israel on alert has been on alert for weeks now, as it also awaits the retaliation from Iran as well. Nick Robertson, thank you very much. Let's bring in CNN military analyst, retired Air Force Colonel as well, Cedric Layton. Good to see you, Colonel. First off, what is your take on what's happening now? I mean, this is the heaviest fighting that we are seeing in months between Israel and Hezbollah. In terms of this preemptive strike launched by Israel, what kind of intelligence do you understand they must have been acting on, and what kind of targets were hit?
Yeah, good morning, Amra. As far as we can tell, the intelligence that the Israelis had was extremely precise. Based on what we hear from the IDF and also from what Hezbollah is telling us, it seems as if the Israelis had an indication that the equipment and the rockets themselves that Hezbollah has were being moved into a launch position. And given that, the Israelis decided that they needed to strike and take them out before they could hit Israel. Now, of course, over 300 rockets and missiles did make it into Israeli airspace. That is to be expected given the volume of rockets that Hezbollah has. But the preemptive attacks, as well as the Iron Dome system, which is Israel's air and missile defense system, were, I think, critical in mitigating as much damage as possible to the Israeli side. So this is basically a reiteration of what the Israelis have done before, but it is, I think, a very critical component that indicates that the Israelis are still very capable of interdicting the Hezbollah efforts to attack them.
Hezbollah says that phase one, the goal was to attack some of those defenses, disable them, so that on phase two, rockets, drones can go deeper into the heart of Israel. Do you expect that that will be successful on phase two? What do you know about the Israeli defenses that might suggest that they are more vulnerable now after phase one?
Well, Victor, it depends on what the Hezbollah forces were able to do. If they did, in fact, take out radar installations that the Israelis have, that would increase Israel's vulnerability. It doesn't seem as if they have been able to do that based on what we know at the moment, except for maybe one location where that could have occurred.
That was a hard cut right there. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the C60 that I offer. I have it in the avocado oil, extra virgin olive oil, and also MCT coconut oil. All right. C60 is really important to take. It's a very strong antioxidant. I have it in a 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, and an 8 ounce configuration. The higher the ounce configuration, the cost per ounce is less. So a 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, or an 8 ounce configuration based on what you can afford. But I try to provide a little bit of a discount if you buy it in a higher ounce configuration. So please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and get the C60 either in avocado, extra virgin olive oil, or MCT coconut oil. It's in an oil because C60, it's a buckyball. It's a molecule that has 60 carbons, and that molecule is lipid soluble. So it has to be dissolved into a lipid. You take a teaspoon of it a day. You take it every day. It's best to take it on an empty stomach for better absorption. If you work out, before your workout, you should be taking it before your workout, and you will recover quicker. It will soak up those free radicals and improve the mitochondrial health and boost up your ATP. That way you have more energy and cells have less stress. So the cells perform better. This is the reason why. If you take this every day and you couple it with a lot of the other things that I'm telling you to do to improve your cellular metabolism and boost up your energy, you're gonna notice that you're aging slower, you're gonna have more energy, you're gonna be thinking more clearly, you're gonna have better memory. All these things are synergistic. When you stack, it's about stacking. All right, so please go to the store and get the C60, either in avocado, extra virgin olive oil, which is new on my store. So get the extra virgin olive oil if you haven't tried it, and the MCT coconut oil in the 2 ounce, a 4 ounce, or an 8 ounce configuration. Take a teaspoon of it a day, every day. And when you do that, you're going to notice huge differences in your in the slowing down of your aging. Now, some people, if they only take the C60 and they're not doing all the other stuff that I'm telling you to do, you're probably going to start noticing improvements in your health, depending on where your baseline was, anywhere from maybe 2 to 3 months. If you are taking the other things with it, you'll notice the improvements much quicker. Now, some of the things that you'll notice is that your endocrine system will start to improve. You'll start to notice that in some cases your eyesight improves. In other cases, you'll notice that your energy level, your energy levels are improving, and you see huge benefits in terms of like facial aging and just having more energy and more vitality from 6 months to a year. You'll start noticing there's this compound effect. If you're doing it every day, there's this compound effect. So if you compare someone of your peer group that's not doing the protocol, not taking the C60, and you are following the protocol and you're taking the C60 every day, what you'll notice is that you are much better off than your peer group that's kind of the control group that didn't do this. So please go to my store and get the C60. So that is my broadcast for today. Please go to my store, the-studio-reykjavik.com, and have a nice day. Bye-bye.